Hello, hello, hello. This is Lady Renae Thomas James, and welcome back to the Vineyard of Wellness, the journey of being mentally, spiritually, emotionally, socially healthy and well. I am your host, Lady Renae Thomas James. If you're watching on YouTube, hi, hello, how are you doing? And if you are listening on your streaming channels, hi, hello. How are you doing? Oh, let me tell you something. I feel today, I kind of feel good. I am feeling quite cute and happy. It's the first time I'm bringing out the mic in a while. It's been a minute since I brought out the mic, and that's because I've been listening back to the sound and I'm like, girl, we can do better. I had a friend of mine, Dawn Brown, and her husband, Karan, who came in and did a whole setup for me of the mic. And I'm like, we are going to do this justice, darling. We're going to do this justice. So, hi, hello, welcome. How are you doing? Let me know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. How have you been? How was your week? How is your heart? How are you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and socially? And if you want to throw in how you're doing financially and physically, that would be nice as well. If you are listening on your podcast streaming channels, feel free to send me a voice message on Spotify with how you're doing. And if there is anything else that you'd like to send me a voice message about, I welcome it. If you are listening on Apple Podcast or other streaming channels, let me know in the reviews how are you doing and how you're liking the podcast so far. That helps me in the eyes of the algorithms. And it also helps other people to know that, you know what? A few people are liking this. Please disperse it to other like minds. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to know how you're doing. I have been well. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm off to a good start of the year. I did have a few negative thoughts this past week about, what if things just don't go the way I am, hoping for or, strategizing. And the truth is, things may not all go the way I am planning for. However, if I stick to the plan, the goals, and the strategies, I believe there are lessons to be learned along the way, and things may not all go as planned, but I can stop, take a moment, analyze, look at what I am doing and what could be done differently, and then progress from there. So I really had to give myself a pep talk. Like, let me tell you something, but it really have to come down and say, look here, girl, we started the year off well, and we are not going to allow those thoughts to really bombard our minds and stop our progress. Yes, I will talk about that more in the future, as they're called imposter syndrome. I think that's what was kicking in. Imposter syndrome. Okay, three things I'm going to get in. And if you were here last week or if you listened last week, I am starting a new corner about three things that I am liking this week, where I pick out three things randomly. It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be a book. Three things that I am liking this week. And I want to start off with Nicole Salmon's book, Courage and Confidence. I am absolutely loving. If you are watching on Spotify or YouTube, you will see the book. It goes on sale. Pre-sale is on now. I will have that link below. The pre-sale, you can get this on pre-sale right now. However, you will get the actual book in April of this year. I will have that link. Let me just read to you the first paragraph in the first chapter. Like, she came out swinging. So the first paragraph says, you can recognize a woman who has been unboxed. This kind of woman is confident, decisive, and clear about her purpose. She knows how to confidently and gracefully say no to anything that will divert her from her calling. Let me tell you something. That first paragraph spoke to me because then you can tell the author, Nicole or Salmon, she is not playing around when she started this book. She is not playing around. Like, and I always say to people, a woman who is decisive, a woman who knows herself, a woman who is self-aware, a woman who sets boundaries for herself, she is not worried about what the next person is thinking because what? Those boundaries are in place to protect her feelings, her emotions, her where she's going, her calling. She knows that there's a calling on her life from above. So if you are interested in Courage and Confidence by Nicole or Salmon, I am going to have the pre-order sale link below. You can find it there. The next thing I am loving is from my line, Take Me Away Essentials, our facial serum. Let me tell you something. It is oil-based, but I love how it leaves my skin hydrated, plumped. It gives me that youthful glow that I embrace and love. You cannot do without this. The ingredients are skin loving. It is natural. And if you want to get your hands on this, I will be coming back out with these in April, the first or the second week of April of this year. I will have that link below where you can sign up for our newsletter for when that comes out. The third thing and last thing that I am loving this week is Lawless Forget the Filler Overnight Lip Plumping Mask. No, I'm gonna be honest with you. While I do love the formula of this, I don't think that they made this for my lips. Number one, it did say lip plumping, and if you're watching, I don't need a lip plumper. But the formula is nice, and you can tell as well it was made for people with thinner lips, as this would not go a far way for someone with my sized lips. And I would also say that this is good for me. I use it during the day rather than an overnight sleeping mask. I prefer it for during the day. Someone with my sized lips would prefer a little bit more product. But if that is my only issue, I would just know that I can't make it a staple because it is on the pricey side and I don't get the amount of product that I would like. But the formula is just absolutely beautiful. It is beautiful. So I'm loving this. Lawless, forget the filler overnight lip plumping mask. You can think about this if you have thinner lips. Also, if you have mild sized lips as well, it does tingle a little bit, not a lot. I'm loving that as well. I would just love a little bit more product in this jar. Like, this is it. And I think it's a lot of money. So those are the things I am loving this week so far. Today, let me tell you what we are talking about. Last night, I got this topic because I had a whole different topic lined out. Last night in my sleep, I got this topic and I woke up and I wrote it down in my notes app. Romanticizing life, but still staying practical. Romanticizing life, but still staying practical. Now, this topic came to me because every now and then I have someone on my Instagram, or a few people rather on my Instagram, who they just can't figure out how I'm able to live the life I'm living. I don't know what they're seeing. It could be the grace and favor of God. I think that's what they're seeing. But I think for me, I've always, let me tell you, always romanticized my life. And if you are on my Instagram at Lady.Renae Thomas James, you would see where I talk about my earlier years with my mom and how we didn't have much, but she made it seem as if we had everything. And that's because we had the things we need and more so love. And it's how more so love in the home, rather love within the home. And it's how we utilized the things we had. I spoke about having a 13-inch black and white TV in the 90s. While everybody else had a big back TV, 22 inches, 25 inches, we had a 13-inch for the family. Our couch was so old. We had to use a plywood so that we were able to sit in it. And I had to cover the couch so that the couch didn't look bad. I think that was maybe in 90. I was about 16, so 96, maybe even 97, maybe. But more so, I remember 16. So more so 96, 97. And while it was embarrassing somewhat for us, it was like, okay, this is what we have, and we're going to make the best of it. And then I realized that there are two people in the world, or later then realized that there are two people in the world. One, where their perspective is an abundant mindset where they're going to use what they have and make it work for them and love life while doing it. And the other that has a lack mindset where they're going to see life as, okay, I have nothing when they have more than most. Now, it's something to say for two people and with two different perspectives. And we're going to look at two people within the same income bracket and how different their lives are and could be, and how one can improve their lives just merely by changing their mindset. And while it is simple, I know right off the bat that it is not easy. It may be simple to change your mindset, but it is not easy because you're talking about working daily to rewire your brain on how you see, life and the perspective of, your own life from, okay, woe is me, or I don't have it, or I can't afford it, to how can I? How can I make this possible? How can I afford it? Let's talk. You have two persons in the same income bracket, and I want to use, let's say, the $60,000 per year income bracket. Both people are married and they have two children. They have a mortgage and household expenses. So that's an income of $120,000 per year. And then you're looking at, let's say, the mortgage. We're going to assume that the house was bought before 2021 when mortgage was still seen, right? Let's say their mortgage was about in the $2,500 per month. So that is $2,500 per month, and that is times 12. So from that, that is $30,000 per year. So away from 120, you're left with 90,000. And remember, this is hypothetical. We are looking, and while those are real numbers, things can happen where anything is possible. Anything can change, right? Sickness, you name it. No, outside of that, you're looking at an household expenses. You're looking at food, your bills, the recurring bills like light, water, heat, internet, so forth. And you want to look at those expenses. For example, food for a family of four, I put it at $2,000 per month. You could go 2,500, 3,000. Some people go less, but I put that like $1,000 fortnightly, especially in this economy where it's crazy. I thought like $500 a week, and you're hoping that you're able to spend $1,000 per fortnight with meat prices. It's crazy. But you want to look at purchasing some things in bulk where you're able to make the food stretch for you. So assuming you have all your expenses covered, your investment is covered, and let's say you're investing 20% of the total income and 10% you're saving. So without doing the math, you should have about some spending money of maybe even 10 to 15% is left back. Now, one person will look and say, okay, that is not enough. And the other person, i.e., myself, is going to look at and say, okay, how can we make the best of this money? How can we still enjoy life from this money? While the other person is like, okay, I can never get ahead. This seems so small. Oh my God, the kids are gonna this, the kids are gonna that. Even considering that just sitting back, looking at your expenses as a spread to say, how can I make this work for me? And a lot of people will look as well and say, okay, how is that person doing this? Or how is that person able to purchase that? How is that person able to go on that trip? How is that person able to take their kids out? And I will tell you, a lot of us are budgeting for it. A lot of us like nice meals, but we're okay with doing sandwich on one day and steak the next. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see I put my dinner on stories, Instagram stories a lot, where one day it's salmon or shrimp, and the next day it's a tuna sandwich or porridge. And I am happy with that. When I say happy, I mean, that makes me happy and warm. I'm okay with that. If it means I get to go buy that $3 plant or get to spend $20 on, let's say, a plant, shopping, or $25 or maybe even $50, I can put that $50 aside and say I'm okay with that. $20 can get me, $20 can get me four $3 plants and then some change. Hello? Did y'all hear me? And that's just for me and the plants. For you, it could be something else, right? For you, you may have to save over a quarter to get what you want. You look at a person and you say, okay, how is this person going to the spa? Call the spa. Ask them, how do you have any specials coming up? Ask the person you see going to the spa, by any means, did you get that on a special? Or how much did you pay for a certain package? You would be surprised to know that how much that person is willing to help you, figure out that budget, or that how to afford the spa maybe once or twice per year. And otherwise, if you can't afford it, you fill that tub. Growing up, we were so poor. You know what we used to fill? In Jamaica, we have washing tubs downtown Jamaica, where you buy big tubs to wash your clothes in. My mom used to fill those tubs, make it put soap in there, and we're talking about washing soap to wash your clothes, but it was suddy, and you sit in it, and guess what? That's a bath. Because the tub that we had, we didn't have the means to fill it because it had no plug, right? So we got the tub downtown, fill it, put soap in there, and that was a bath. And this is how you're able to create the mindset of, how can I afford the thing, rather than I can't afford the thing. How is that person being able to afford the thing? No, your brain starts looking for ways to afford the thing. Right now, I do DIY facials at home. I have spa days at home. It might look like a nice bath in the tub. It might look like doing my hair on my own. It might look like a facial. So it might look like a facial first while in the tub, then go to shower, wash my hair. And let me tell you, afterwards, my skincare and my body care routine, tell me that's not a vibe, a spa vibe at home. And then afterwards, it might look like journaling and reading for the rest of, like, maybe another 2 or 3 hours, just journaling using different journals. Let me know if you want me to talk more about that in another episode, where you're able to give yourself the gift of a at-home spa experience. Now we can go on to meals, where you see people going out and just enjoying different restaurants, and you wonder, how are they able to do that? Give me a second, pause. My computer is about to die and I can't lose this. Right. Where was I? Meals, right? Okay. Let's say there's a restaurant that you want to go to. I'm coming from Alberta. I loved Joey's restaurant. Oh my God, I love Joey's. Oh my God. And right now, I am about 40 minutes away from the closest Joey's. When I was in Alberta, it was maybe 8 minutes with traffic. away from the closest Joey's. That's okay. But what we did, that we went to Joey's maybe once or twice per year, no word of a lie. And we tasted everything that was in our meal and, what we liked about the meal. And we went home and replicated that meal. Like the kids would always say, okay, or Marlon, my husband would always say, okay, I'm tasting this. I think we can make this. And for sure, I would come home, I would make the shrimp. I'm not a steak girl, but the steak for Marlon, or Marlon would be the one mainly to make the steak. The mashed potatoes, my mashed potatoes, y'all. My mashed potatoes are a vibe. My shrimp, my salmon, even with how I make my porridge. I got that taste from a restaurant in Jamaica, like I'm tasting this. Try to replicate that at home, right? Plate the food like your dinner, like it would in the restaurant. That's okay. That's a vibe. When you look at it, you're like, your kids will for sure be the one to say, okay, this looks good. Mommy, this looks good. And I love to hear that. And then, mommy, this tastes good. I love that. That for me is a whole vibe. So with that, you see where you're able to have a spa day, a nice spa day at home. You're able to have a nice meal at home. What else do you see? You see people going to the gym. You want that vibe, doing Pilates. You see people going to yoga. Okay. Some people need to actually be there, but before you're able to afford that, can we create that vibe at home? Can we what are you seeing at the yoga studio that you can replicate at home? It could be the nice mirrors, it could be the plants, it could be the essential oils that you're smelling in the background. What are you experiencing at the yoga studio that you can replicate at home? Start thinking about, how can I make this possible rather than I can't. Romanticizing your life is literally, how can I make a thing work for me? Understanding that you may have to start slow and build up periodically before you get to the thing. For example, you might want to go to the spa outside of the home. That might require you to spend maybe $300. Okay, how much money can I put aside per month or per fortnight to be able to do this in maybe 3 months or maybe 6 months? Because you might not be able to do it in 3 months. Okay, I don't want to spend that money yet outside of the home. How can I replicate that in the home? On our next episode, I'm going to show you a bath product that I like from Bathorium. That's a luxurious bath company where they just make bath products. How can I replicate that luxurious feeling and experience at home? And trust me, it is possible. It is very possible. Also, what you can do, I spent some time doing this last night where I spent some time just like writing out my dream life, my dream month, my dream quarter, my dream day. And I've been doing that for quite some time now, for quite some years. The thing is, that changes over time. So every couple of years, as you grow, you mature, you evolve, that dream looks differently. And you may not get everything you want in that dream before you're able to write it again, before you have evolved into another, a more mature you, or just a different you. I don't like to say different. You've evolved into, yeah, I would say a different you, like a more evolved, mature, different thinking, different looking you. And you might not be able to get everything on that list, but I guarantee you will check off most of that list, at minimum 50%. Write it down, make it known unto God that this is what I want. Pray over it, romanticize it. How often do you want to let's say work out? What does your morning looks like? What do your days look like? Even if you are going on someone's 9 to 5, it is possible. I was the girl on my 9 to 5. At my last job in Edmonton, love Boardwalk. I love Boardwalk. I loved my associates there. I loved my boss. I loved my supervisors. I really loved that job. But I was the girl who was coming every morning with my breakfast and my coffee in my Contigo cup. What does that look like for you? And trust me, there was nobody who was going to take away the experience of sipping on my coffee while working, while going through my emails. For me, that was a vibe. Sipping on my coffee and going through my emails first thing in the morning. No, some people would be like, I don't want to do that. For me, it was a hot girl vibe, but not lie. It was a true cute hot girl associate vibe. I'm not gonna lie. I liked it. And then I quickly became known for that person who is going to have her coffee and check her emails. I'm going to probably have my sandwich as well if I hadn't eaten my sandwich in the car on my way to work, right? If you have a 9 to 5, do you have a special radio station that you like to listen to? If not, do you have a special podcast that you can listen to on your way to work, i.e. the Vineyard of Wellness, hosted by Lady Renae Thomas James? Do you have a podcast? I have another podcast that I love listening to. This girl is in her 20s, but for some reason she's my vibe. Glow with It podcast. I glow with it. GLO, glow with it. You can look for it. I love that podcast. Other podcast as well. The Soft Life podcast by Sadie Badi, hosted by Priscilla O. Ajiman. She's also either in her late 20s, early 30s. Like I'm telling you, these young people are killing the game. They're becoming more and more self-aware, and they're putting themselves out there, and they have very good content. Priscilla O. Ajiman, her podcast is the Soft Life podcast with study buddies. Like, I love that. Romanticizing your life. It doesn't have to be expensive, right? You can think about what you like and the scale that you're able to do it on today, rather than woe is me, right? Find me on Instagram. I think what I'm going to start doing, maybe weekly or fortnightly, is just on the top of the week, have a few ways how we can romanticize our life, or for the week, or how we can make our weeks softer. What book are you reading? What podcast are you listening to? Who are you taking walks with? If you are going on solo walks, what are you listening to? Do you like coffee? Do you like tea? TikTok have a whole coffee talk over there of how to make your own coffee and make it work for you. I've been making my own coffee for ever since I was in my 20s, actually. My grandmother introduced me to coffee. My mother does not drink coffee. She did not like that my grandmother introduced me to coffee. But I've been making my own coffee since my 20s. So now I perfect it. I get my coffee pods at Costco. My daughter bought me a Keurig a few years ago, which I love. It's not the latest Keurig on the market, but I love it, right? If you're not able to afford a Keurig, a coffee machine, look at what that will cost for you. If you're a tea girl, what teas do you like? If you're not able to afford loose leaf tea, tea bags can do, right? Now, on TikTok, you also have people doing different kinds of tea with like fruits and veggies with a tea bag, mixed together, hot and cold. There is no reason in this day of our Lord 2024 and beyond that you're not able to create a softer life for yourself. And I do understand that, there are impoverished people in the world. And I'm not talking about people who genuinely cannot even find water or food. I'm talking about people who have a job and you're working, on making ends meet, and you're actually able to sit back, look at your life to see how you can make life work for you rather than against you. And while it is simple to say that, yes, it is It will take a mindset shift. It is simple, but I understand it will be challenging. It's not my brain dump book, but it's where I, air my head out for content in this notebook. And in this journal is where I just journal my thoughts. If you're watching, you'll see the journals. Is where I journal my thoughts. I have other guided journals as well, where, they're more guided. So it's question and answers. Create the life you want. Start by writing it down. Something happens when your fingers touch that pen and the pen goes to paper. Something happens in your brain. Your brain starts looking for ways to make that thing happen. And it's okay. It may not happen overnight, but I guarantee you it will. Keep that notebook, keep that journal, look back years to come, and you will say, Renae did say so. Renae told me so. It would come to fruition. Thank you for listening. We're going to end here for today. This is the Vineyard of Wellness, the journey of being mentally, spiritually, emotionally healthy and well. I had a good time today. This was a good conversation. I hope it was as good for you as it was for me. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.